Why your electric bill is rising in Washington. 2025 rate hikes explained. Picture this. Your electric bill suddenly skyrockets, hitting your wallet harder than expected, all because of a major shift in federal policy. That's the grim forecast for folks in Washington state, according to Senator Patty Murray, who points the finger at what's being called the One Big Beautiful Bill. This legislation slashed federal funding for renewable energy initiatives, and it's set to make electricity more expensive for everyone. But why does this matter? And is there more to the story? Let's dive in and unpack it step by step, making sure it's easy to follow even if you're new to how energy policies work. To get a real sense of the issue, imagine standing in the heart of Seattle's South Lake Union neighborhood, right at the Denny substation. Joe Nguyen, the director of Washington State Commerce, was there recently, surrounded by towering skyscrapers that didn't even exist 2 decades ago. He explained how this substation was designed with long-term growth in mind. Utilities plan for 10, 20, even 40 years ahead. But when the federal government pulls back on its promises, like cutting funds for energy projects, it throws a wrench into those carefully laid plans. Suddenly, all that forward thinking is at risk, and it could lead to higher costs for maintaining the grid. Now, utilities aren't just dealing with reduced federal support. They're facing a bunch of other challenges too. For starters, transmission lines and equipment don't last forever. They age and break down, requiring constant repairs and upgrades. On top of that, the rise of AI data centers is gobbling up more power than ever before. Think about it. These high-tech facilities can consume as much electricity as a small town, pulling from the region's available energy and leaving less buffer for unexpected demands. And let's not forget climate change. Washington state is seeing more frequent heat waves, which crank up air conditioning use and push local power systems to their limits. During these hot spells, utilities often have to buy extra electricity from the open market at premium prices, which of course gets passed on to consumers. But here's where it gets controversial. The chances are increasing that Washington and California could both swelter under heat waves at the same time. If that happens, there might not be enough power to go around, potentially leading to brownouts or blackouts. For those unfamiliar with the terms, a brownout is when the voltage drops and appliances don't work properly, while a blackout means a complete loss of power. Both scenarios can disrupt daily life, from spoiling food in fridges to halting business operations. Joe Nguyen warns that without adequate supply, Washington residents could face these issues more often. Adding to the headache, Seattle City Lights CEO Lindell emphasized the need to expand energy capacity. Without federal grants and tax credits that used to help cover building costs, those expenses are now falling squarely on customers. She noted that cuts in federal funding directly inflate the price of new energy projects. And this is the part most people miss. Factors like tariffs on imported materials and ongoing supply chain disruptions are making everything more expensive. For example, tariffs can add extra costs to components needed for power infrastructure, while supply chain issues might delay projects or force companies to pay more for scarce resources. As a result, Lindell predicts that residents can expect noticeable rate hikes for the next decade or so. And it's not just Seattle. This could affect many areas across Washington state. Interestingly, when reached out to, the U.S. Department of Energy didn't provide any comment, which leaves room for speculation. But here's a subtle counterpoint to consider. While federal cuts are a big problem, some might argue that states could innovate locally, perhaps by investing in community-based renewable sources like solar panels on rooftops or wind farms. Could this reduce reliance on federal aid and make energy more resilient? So what do you think? Is federal funding the key to keeping bills in check? Or should Washington focus more on homegrown solutions? Do you believe these rate increases are unavoidable, or is there a way to avoid them? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear if you agree or have a different take.